Secret tunnels through the synagogue? A riot broke out in a historic Brooklyn synagogue on Monday when a group of Orthodox men tried to stop police and construction crews from filling in a secret tunnel they allegedly illegally dug to reach a closed-down women's bath, per the New York Post. Members of the Chabad Lubavitch movement have allegedly been digging a tunnel under the Crown Heights synagogue for almost a year, designed to reach an abandoned mikvah, or ritual bath, for women and expand the synagogue. That's according to reporting from Forward. Now, dozens appeared to protest the arrival of a cement truck, which a Chabad spokesperson, Rabbi Moti Seligson, said was there to repair the wall after a, quote, unauthorized passageway had been built connecting the sanctuary to nearby buildings, allegedly including a local children's museum. According to the New York Post, neighbors complained about suspicious noises leading to the tunnel's discovery. Synagogue leadership ordered the tunnel to be destroyed, but when construction workers showed up, members of the movement made their way into the tunnel to prevent the construction, and a riot began. Here's some of those worshipers interacting with the police.
Now, 12 Hasidic men were arrested on Monday after breaking into the synagogue headquarters and allegedly damaging the synagogue underneath it, according to officials. 9 people are now facing charges.
I think it was the headline from the New York Post that maybe first attracted this story a lot of attention. The headline read, "Extremist Jewish teens secretly hired migrants to dig secret Brooklyn synagogue tunnel Shawshank style." It's a lot going on there.
Look, so this story has obviously attracted a lot of interest, largely because the visuals are just so extraordinary. I mean, any New Yorker is going to balk at the idea of a fully grown human being emerging from a sewer grate, kind of Ninja Turtle style. And I think that imagery, as well as the confrontation with the police and the longer clip that we played, really sparked the imagination and just raised more questions than were answered. Why this tunnel? This tunnel was 60 feet long and 8 feet wide with a ceiling height of 5 feet. Apparently, they've been working on it for at least a year. And I think even now, days into the story, a lot of questions remain about the why of the tunnel, the necessity of the tunnel. Initially, people were saying that it was a COVID-era attempt to get around shutdowns. But if it's only been being built for about a year, it's unclear whether there were really any meaningful policies in place that would have precluded people from going wherever they wanted in New York City. And why the protest, why the escalation? I mean, I understand, okay, you shot your shot, you tried to build an illegal tunnel, the city found out about it, came to shut it down, came to fill it in. What was hoped to be gained by a direct confrontation with the police to defend one's, I guess, eminent domain rights to the underground of New York City? And there was also some concern about whether or not the tunnel would imperil the structural integrity of the Chabad house, which apparently is of broader significance to the community.
Right. The synagogue itself wants the tunnel filled in. They own the space. I mean, we got to have law and order. If they want it filled in, they get it that way. You know, I don't have any problem with the tunnel being taken care of, disposed of. I get what I'm gathering is that online there was a lot of reaction that was sort of anti-Semitic in nature. A lot of people saying that Jews hiding under the floorboards, trying to get at the children in the museum, trying to get at the women's bath. I saw. Andrew Tate, for instance, made a nasty comment about it. That sort of thing, saying that, oh, here are you said there were, I think calling out Ben Shapiro saying, oh, you said that Hamas is in tunnels. It's actually the Jews in the tunnels, that kind of thing. So that's all very unfortunate. But for the underlying, for the issue itself, I mean, they get to not have, the synagogue doesn't want a tunnel there. You can't build an unauthorized tunnel on their property.
Yeah, I mean, look, there have been long-standing tensions between the Orthodox community in Brooklyn and other residents of Brooklyn for years.
Well, and the government authorities over the schools, right? That was happening in New York City, them saying the Hasidic educational environments were not up to the city standards. And there was, I remember reading and hearing from religious people thinking this was a religious freedom violation, that sort of thing.
You're right. So there was a big issue around bike lanes, that the Hasidic community didn't want the bike lanes going through their neighborhoods. There was an issue years ago, I believe in the 80s, maybe the 90s, where because there are specialized ambulances that service the community because of various rules about how people can interact on a gendered basis and stuff, that there was a non-Hasidic person that was injured. I believe they were black, and the paramedics that were dispatched that were the Hasidic paramedics would not attend to that person, and they ended up dying, and that provoked a riot. There have been allegations of all kinds of intergroup misconduct, sexual misconduct, and the kinds of things that often happen whenever there is not a lot of outsider oversight and kind of seclusion of many, many groups. But as a consequence, I think there are a lot of stereotypes and negativity around how Hasidics are perceived in Brooklyn. And I do think the imagery of this event led a lot of people who might have anti-Semitic views about them lean into their ideological priors. However, that aside, it's hard not to look at the remarkable imagery of a full-grown, fully dressed human emerging from the sewer and want to know a lot more about how this happened. I'm really looking forward to seeing more pictures and photographs of exactly what kind of architectural feats were accomplished underneath this building before they were thwarted, and to hear more about what the kind of political divisions are that are apparently separating the tunnel diggers from the institutionalists who are trying to get it filled in.
I mean, I was ready to dig a tunnel out of my apartment during COVID, so again, I understand. And I think, you know who I think is really behind this?
Who?
The Dharma Initiative, which is another Lost reference. You're going to have to watch this show. By next week, you can finish the whole thing. It's only like 120 episodes.
That doesn't feel like a next week project.
If you start it, you won't stop.
Aren't they hour-long episodes?
Yeah, if you start it, you won't stop.
No,
you'll do this all weekend.
I started watching Lost in college when it was happening, and I was watching with a friend who then got sick, and while he was home from class and I was at class, sped along without me, that's how I fell behind. And so as a matter of principle, I kind of feel like I don't want to watch this the same way I fell out of watching Upstairs, Downstairs, what you call it? Downton Abbey?
Downton Abbey, yeah.
My mom did that to me with Downton Abbey, and I'm still behind. So I'm standing on principle on this one, Robbie.
The betrayal can sting.
If you make a few more Lost references, I might have to finally bend the knee.
We'll see if I can get them in next week. More Rising right after this.